Okay. Ponderings. What does love look like? Patience, long suffering, based off of 1 Corinthians 13:4. Definition of patience: the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. Long suffering: having or showing patience in spite of troubles, especially those caused by other people's. Strong Concordance definition for patience: suffereth long. It's Greek, so I'm going to mess it up. Makathromio, to be long-spirited, forbearing, or patient. Bear, suffer long, be long-suffering, have long patience, be patient, patiently endure. And Vine's Dictionary, a verb akin to be patient, long-suffering, to bear with, literal, to be long-tempered, is rendered by the verb to be long-suffering. Vine's notes, long-suffering is that quality of self-restraint in the face of provocation, which does not hastily retaliate or promptly punish. It is the opposite of anger and is associated with mercy, and is used of God in Exodus 34:6. In Romans 2:4, 1 Peter 3:20, patience is a quality that does not surrender to circumstance or succumb under trial. It is the opposite of despondency and is associated with hope in 1 Thessalonians 1:3. It is not used of God in that verse. We see major examples of patience, long suffering with God and the children of Israel during the process and after He brought them out of Egypt. Multiple times throughout the books of Exodus and through Deuteronomy, we see how the children of Israel consistently challenged God's patience with murmuring and complaining, making false idols, complaining about food and water even when He provided it for them. Yet still, through all of that, He still kept His covenant that He made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He did not wipe them out of history, although He was more than capable of doing so. Even when He considered starting anew with Moses, He would not have broken covenant because Moses was part of Abraham's seed also. Neither would He allow anyone else to curse His people. And although He did deal out punishment as a father by not allowing a generation of the original Israelis that came out of Egypt to go into the promised land, He still allowed them to live out their days. He still protected them from their enemies, and He still provided sustenance for them. Another major example of patience, long-suffering, we see in Jesus Christ throughout the books of Matthew through John. We see examples of Christ being patient and long-suffering with the Jews and the Gentiles of that time. We see the priests, Sadducees, and Pharisees constantly challenging Him. He had the devil trying to get Him off course and to get Him to get in pride and take momentary glory. He had those who had trust issues, despite seeing and hearing of the miracles He performed, doubting whether He could heal their sicknesses or infirmities. And after all of that, He goes to the cross, was lied on, took beatings, whippings, being spat upon, nails hammered through His hands and feet, was hung on a cross, naked to public shame, after all the good He did and being innocent. He still followed through. He took on our punishment, even though He had opportunity and the power to get out of our punishment and could have eliminated the group of them, but He didn't. This is just something to think about. Some scriptures on God's patience and love. Exodus 7:10 through Exodus 15. Everything God brought the children of Israel out of and the punishment of their oppressors at that time. We got Exodus 16:1 through 8 and verses 36. Israel complaining about food, examples of it. Exodus 17:1 through 7. We have examples of Israel complaining about water. Examples of God fighting for Israel we see in Exodus 17:8 through 16. Numbers 22 through 24, we see God refusing to allow Balaam to curse His people. We see in Exodus 32:1 through 14, and verses 15 through 24, the children of Israel going after idols, and God's considering starting anew with Moses. We have scriptures about Jesus' patience and love in Matthew 4:1 through 11. Satan tries to get Jesus to take glory for Himself. In Mark 8:27 through 33, And Matthew 16:20 through 23, Satan tries indirectly to get Jesus off course. In John 8:59, and John 10:31 through 39, the people try to stone Jesus. In Mark 6:1 through 6, in Matthew 13:53 through 58, we see Jesus dealing with people and their trust issues. In Matthew 26:49 through 53, Jesus speaks of how he could have had or received more than 12 legions of angels to fight for him if he wanted to. In Matthew 26 through 27, Mark 14 through 15, Luke 22 through 23, and John 18 through 19, we see Jesus' toughest trial and the crucifixion. I am Abel.